Barack Obama claimed the Democratic presidential nomination with a soaring speech in St. Paul, Minnesota 1 week ago. Hours earlier, John McCain gave his own speech, but the green backdrop was the least of his problems. According to Human Events' Jed Babbin, quote, "It was poorly written, badly staged, and obviously a text McCain wasn't comfortable with. McCain's themes were good, but the speech made him sound petty." Babbin then wrote of McCain staffers, quote, "The supposed advisors and strategists immediately leaked to the McCain hostile press that the only problem was McCain, not the speech or how it was managed as a media event." Are McCain staffers disloyal, and if so, what does it mean? Jed Babbin joins us now here in Washington. Jed, first of all, great to see you, and congratulations on another terrific piece in Human Events. You were the one who caught this whole idea of the leaking by the McCain staffers. What does it signal in your mind?
Well, it signals that there's some internal problems. They may not be very big ones if they're nipped in the bud at this point, but it's the same kind of thing that we saw in the early stages of the Fred Thompson campaign. If you remember, there was that same sort of leak to Fred Thompson, from the Fred Thompson staff to the Politico, maybe to the same guys at the Politico, saying that Fred would drop out after the Iowa caucus if he didn't do well and immediately endorse McCain. It wasn't true. This is the same sort of internal dissent or disloyalty. I don't know what you want to call it, but the fact is there's somebody there who is ratting out the boss for the consultant having done a bad job, for the staffer having a bad job done. He's ratting out and saying the boss did a bad job. That's just not the kind of thing you want to have going on in a presidential campaign.
Because what you want is you want the campaign manager or somebody essentially taking responsibility to the conservatives who criticized the speech and said, look, we blew it. It's not the senator's fault.
Yeah, I mean, you want to just basically say, okay, it wasn't a great speech. Mr. McCain was not comfortable with it. Maybe we shouldn't have asked him to do it. But it's not that big a deal. I mean, it came off as more of a big deal because these staffers, advisors, whoever the heck they are, were out there leaking to the Politico that, oh, it was a bad thing and McCain looked terrible. Again, this is the same sort of internal dissent and disloyalty that could sink any campaign.
Jed, talk about some of the top conservative issues that you think John McCain still needs to solve with his base.
I think there are a number of things. You know, Mr. McCain said he learned the issue of illegal immigration when the Bush-McCain-Kennedy bill went down to ignominious defeat last summer. I think he still has a little bit of ground to make up on that. I think some of the other things about global warming, some of the things he said about McCain-Feingold, sponsoring it, passing it, a lot of people have a long memory on that. It's not impossible at all for Mr. McCain to make up a lot of ground with conservatives, and as a sitting senator, he has a very good way to do it, David. All he has to do is start introducing some legislation. Sure, it's not going to pass. It's a campaign year, but he could put stakes in the ground that conservatives could rally around. It would be a pretty easy thing for him to do, I think.
And Jed, we started off this segment talking about staff. Are you satisfied that McCain has the sort of bedrock conservative thinkers with him in a sort of inner circle that can help accomplish what you just outlined?
I think probably, you know, I think people like Mark Salter is a terrific speechwriter, good strategist. I mean, if you look at people such as Phil Gramm, former senator from Texas, some people like that, Jack Kemp, he's got some real good brains around him. Ted Olson, for heaven's sakes, one of the best legal minds in the country. He's got some very good people around him. The question is, you know, will he listen to them? What are they telling him? Now we have Arthur Culverhouse out there looking for a vice presidential running mate for Mr. McCain. There's some really good people around him. Question is, will they get the job done?
Jed Babbin, Jed, thanks as always for coming. We appreciate it. And again, great stuff on Human Events, and we look forward to seeing more.
Thanks very much. Thank you.